Welcome to another episode of Bad Batch Recaps. This time we are on episode 8. We're at the halfway point. Officially, I've been told we are at the exact halfway point. We have 16 episodes. This was I don't know if do they have like a halfway series point? Is there a term for that? Like penultimate? I don't know.
Not yet. Penultimate is the ultimate, pun intended, word. So I don't know if they have a midway point. But man, halfway, this felt like it could have been a friggin' 3/4 point. Like it felt like we were gearing up for a finale here. So yeah, friggin' awesome.
Yeah. Is this how it always goes in these Star Wars things? Because I'm like, what else do we have left unless they're just going to completely change? Like, it feels like all the climaxes are being hit in a crazy fashion right now, right?
It's weird. I feel like it's fresh for at least even me and Robbie because we're so used to like the arc format, and that's not really being done too much here. So like it's kind of new territory for us too.
I love it too. Like I like the continued thread format.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so let's just jump right into the breakdown of the episode. We start off right on Camino, where we have Crosshair reporting to Admiral Rampart that the Bad Batch are on Baraka. See Admiral Rampart, they're here. I assumed early on that Admiral Rampart was going to be a much bigger part of the series. Obviously, we have an entire half of a series left, but like so far, he's really not been in it too much. Like he was teased to be the guy that was going to hunt them down, but like this is, I feel like only the second time we've really seen him even talk, right?
And I feel like I, in my mind, associate Tarkin more with hunting him down than even Admiral Rampart.
Yeah, at this point, for sure.
Shout out to the people who made this guy, too, because he just has such a punchable fucking face. Like, I hate that dude so much, and he's a cartoon. He's not real.
I know. He's got that like the perfect bad guy hair. And like,
I was going to say the hair and everything. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So the Kaminoans essentially want the Bad Batch alive because they're like they're valuable IP, more or less. And Rampart's like, I couldn't give a fuck. If you find them on Baraka, kill them, terminate them. They're traitors. I don't have time for this bullshit. So we go back to Baraka, and Wrecker and Omega are having like this kind of funny moment where he has her disarm a bomb. And he tells her like, hey, this is a serious thermal detonator. You better not screw this up. It turns out to be a smoke bomb. And I love that. They're dynamic, and especially considering like last episode, like he was about to fucking kill her, and he's doing good, like soldiers follow orders and all that. Like now they're having like a nice little like father-daughter moment, and I love that. And I'm sure Clem, as a girl dad, you can appreciate that.
I fucking loved it. I said I thought it was a little like much at first, and then I'm like, if you're living in a place that is literally like everything we know about this place is fucking Star Wars, right? You're in a war zone. You better be teaching your kids how to fucking disarm bombs. So very well done by Wrecker, who again, like, I feel like Wrecker might have like the best dad genes of everyone so far in like the entire out of all Star Wars characters. I'm talking Mando. I'm talking Anakin.
Wow.
Like, think about all the dads we've had. They all kind of stink, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Mando, I love him, but he's left Grogu to get taken many times. Wrecker's just like, hey, I'll teach you some life skills. I'll eat some popcorn with you, which, by the way, we talked about the popcorn last time. That was a shout out to the Holonet Marauders. They tweeted us and let us know, actually inspired by popcorn that was made in Galaxy's Edge. So the popcorn in the show was inspired by Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge popcorn.
Reverse this time. It's usually the other way around. And I think we even said that like this is going to end up in Galaxy's Edge, but we were wrong. It was already flipped.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like their dynamic. I think Wrecker's almost like the goofy dad, and like the rest of them are like the mom that has to be stern or more or less, right?
Yeah.
He's got the good life right now. They spot some scrappers that are eyeballing them. We saw at the end of the last episode. Wrecker and Tech, they catch them, they subdue them, they kind of knock them out with stuns and all that crap. And the Batch decides, you know what? Let's go. Let's get the rest of this stuff in the armory and all this other data we have, and let's go try and sell it to Sid to pay off our debt. Which, by the way, if I was them again, I would just be like, yeah, fuck you guys. I'm just gonna fuck you, Sid. I'm out. Like, we're out.
Yeah, I'd be out on Sid too. I don't want to go back to that dingy little bar, except Wrecker probably wants the popcorn again. He's like, let's go back.
That's the only thing that brings him back is the popcorn. Like, just get the big guy to really get addicted to the popcorn. And again, as I'm like saying all this, I realize I see myself in Wrecker, just a big lug of a human that is just trying to be a good dad or whatever you want to say, and he just loves to eat with his kids. So shout out to Wrecker. And I also love the circular stun beam is big in this show. Is it big in all the Clone Wars?
Yeah, I feel like amount. I think, right?
I feel like you see it more often in Clone Wars than you do in live action for sure.
Because they use that. I'm trying to think.
New Hope was Leia.
They use it in New Hope, and I was going to say it was like the first laser shot. It's definitely not the first laser shot, but they use it there, and then you really don't see it again in the Star Wars universe again, at least in the movies and shit. So it's crazy that they are using it. I dig it. If I had to do like one kind of shot, I think I'd like to do that because it's so cool looking.
Yeah,
It's
the
good
big
for the
circle.
kid shows, especially. You don't have to kill people. You just
Yeah.
boom, you're down.
Exactly. Yeah, I think they use it a fair amount in the Clone Wars. Again, Clem, once you dig your teeth in the Clone Wars, I really think you're gonna love it. It is fun
Especially
stuff.
after this episode, like there's some stuff to go back and watch now.
Yes. True fact right there. But yeah, so you see even right here, Echo and Hunter kind of have like a disagreement about where the Bad Batch should be going from here, because like Hunter is kind of leading them towards becoming mercenaries and doing stuff for money because he thinks like we can't get involved with the rebels. I don't know if he thinks it's because it's a losing cause or just it's too dangerous or whatever. But he's like, look, we're on a different path from Rex. But Echo, I think, is still very much like, dude, we're soldiers. We gotta just make sure we're fighting, and because that's what we do. And just let's fight for the right side. And I think we're going to see that sort of split between the group like kind of develop as we go or go further on. And that's going to be like a bigger storyline. You see here as they're searching through, we see some proton torpedoes, which I love seeing. I love seeing anything. Whenever they reference any sort of weapon just by name, it's just always so much cooler, right?
Yeah, and just the back end assembly line version of them. You know what I mean? Like them lined up like that.
Exactly.
All of us X-Wing TIE fighter people, it was just kind of nice to see the little, like, that gave me some tingles inside, some nostalgic tingles for sure.
Exactly. And then as they're there, essentially Crosshair and all of the units is like a new death squad essentially group. They arrived and they get there to kill the Bad Batch. And we flip to Kamino, Lama Su, and Tanway. They talk about how the Empire is posing a threat to their contingency plan. So they send some bounty hunters to go and retrieve Omega. So now I think we can pretty much confirm, because it wasn't directly said, that Fennec Shand was hired by the Kaminoans, although we can't say for sure about anything really, but that obviously makes sense at this point, and that the reason that they want Omega is because she's the future of their things, and I feel like that just adds more credence to the whole, like, she's going to be force sensitive, right?
Yeah, this also felt at times so Mando-esque that I was like, Filoni copied his own homework here. We're trying to find trying to find the little young one, and we're sending bounty hunters after him. And we've got this ragtag group who you'd never expect his father is doing a good job. Like, all right, Filoni, you like this? What is it? The Lone Wolf and Cub storyline? Like, you like that style?
Imagine if, like, what was it? The Threat Level Midnight, where they say like Grogu because they're instead of Dwigged, it's Grogu, and like he forgot to just do the find and replace, and it's just sitting there. It's like, yeah, you just took a Mando episode that never aired, Filoni, and you just made it a fucking Bad Batch because you were like, oh shit, Disney ordered 16 of these episodes and not 15.
Yeah,
He loves doing the same thing a lot. Like you'll see even Filoni, like he does some stuff when he did Avatar: The Last Airbender, stuff that he used there you'll see repeated in Clone Wars.
Really?
You'll see stuff from there in, like, I think in Bad Batch. One of the main plots of the episode was something that we had seen previously in like the Bad Batch episodes of Clone Wars, that is, we saw that used previously. So like he likes to use the kind of the same general ideas and other things, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like do you remember the episode of Mandalorian where he like helps all the villagers like train to fight off the Empire?
Oh yeah.
Essentially, like that is an episode that the Bad Batch do in their Clone Wars run. That is an episode that the Anakin and Ahsoka do independently in their Clone Wars run. It's an episode in Avatar: Last Airbender. Like he likes things that, like, it just works. Like whatever he thinks works, he likes to use it again, and I don't blame him. But yeah,
so a fun fact about that episode where they train all the villagers. One of the villagers was actually Casey from Loki.
It was, yeah. It's and if you ever watched The Good Place, that's Pillboy, a very accomplished rapper that works with one of the characters.
He's a rapper, Casey?
No, in the what do you call
in
it?
the show.
In the show, yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Very funny actor.
You almost threw me for a loop there.
So the Bad Batch, they take what gear they could find and they try and work their way out. They need to find a secret way off the ship because all these Empire soldiers are kind of swooping their way throughout the ship. And Crosshair and the Empire troops, they corner them on a gun deck. This is a big artillery deck. But Tech and Echo, they hack into one of the guns and they fire it to help them escape. You see the big ass guns there. And that's another one of the cooler things I think that they did in Star Wars, was just have this be like just on all of like the big capital ships having these gun decks like this. And remember like when they first showed them in episode 3, right? When like they did the opening scene, they're going through and you're seeing all the gun decks like firing off like the fucking real cannons and like discharging the big ass shells with that cool sound effect. I always found that to be one of the coolest things, just additions to Starship lore, as opposed to them just being lasers, having like these big canister cannon shells, right?
I agree with that. And the episode 3 like ship aesthetic, the entire like inside of the ship when Anakin and Obi-Wan crash down and R2's in there with the super battle droids, that is my favorite ship aesthetic in Star Wars. I would say that's like oh my God, it doesn't get better than that for me.
All the little things too, in terms of just seeing the behind the scenes of battles or ships or all that kind of stuff. We talked about it during the Mando finale, right? When you saw the TIE fighter pilots going in, being shot out, and even what was it? Was it Last Jedi, where everyone got all upset about the bombs having gravity or whatever? But just seeing like the behind the scenes and how everything goes, it's so much fun than just seeing lasers flying through the air. At some point, you need to kind of get down to the micro side of things, and this was another example. Dig it.
They had a cool little dark standoff here between Crosshair and the Bad Batch, where like he's just like essentially shit talking them the entire time, and he says like a very it lands on a very fucked up part where Crosshair's just like aim for the kid, like what the fuck, dude? Like inhibitor chip or not, that's just messed up.
That was
blooded. She tries to be like, no, I swear, there's a chip. Like, sir, you're not bad. It's all good. Like, there's still light in you, and he's just like. Shoot her in the face.
Yeah, start with her. It's so fucked up.
I wish Crosshair got like started getting personal, like because they're like, you know, these guys have been together, probably had a lot of crazy shit, a lot of crazy stories, a lot of secrets from each other. Basically, like almost famous when they think they're gonna crash, and just all the fucking dirty laundry comes out. Crosshair should have started doing that. It's like he's been fucking your girlfriend, you know, from Tatooine. You never even knew that, Wrecker. I'd love to see that dynamic. Maybe in the future, I'd love to see that in the future episodes.
He only like uses each other's tactics and stuff. Like, yeah, I knew you would do this. Like, dude, use some serious psychological warfare. You know where the bodies are buried for the Bad Batch, man. Come on. So they'd escape through the engine of the ship, but Crosshair cuts them off from outside, and he activates the engine so that they're forced out. Another cool thing, I don't think we've seen like an ion engine like really from like that sort of interior. Maybe in like video games every now and then, but like seeing the ion engine just in general, I thought was just an awesome little touch to it. And like, what do you call it? I think like Tech was about to explain how an ion engine works, and I was like, oh, I actually want to know. And then like Wrecker cuts him off, and he's like, no one cares. That's boring. Like, I want to know how an ion engine works. I don't know how.
I fucking love ion engines. I used to, again, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, I used to just fly near them and just stare at them. It's just one of those things. It's like the warm glow of it, and it doesn't really make sense, but it does make sense in your like fictional brain or whatever. I dug that they kind of got, that was another thing I really liked, how they got into like the workings of it all.
Yeah, it looked really cool. They blow up the essentially the cone of the engine. They get to like the cylinder to pop off, and when they do that, the engine fires basically directly into Crosshair and the rest of the troops. You see him here getting like burnt up a little bit. He gets fucked up, so they have to turn the engines off. And Hunter and Echo, they approach the ship, and guess who they find? Fucking Cad Bane. And this might be infrared for you, Clem, but Cad Bane is one of the biggest characters throughout all of Clone Wars. He's this really badass bounty hunter that like he has like all of these stories, which we'll get into more in the Easter egg section of it. But he shows up, he had killed all the clones guarding their ship, and they have like a little bit of this really cool standoff. But the second like I heard his voice, and I'm Robbie, I know this probably happened with you too. Once I heard that like kind of like little bit digitized voice, him saying like, why is that much of a fight? I was just like, oh fuck, it's Cad Bane, right?
Blew my mind. I would say Cad Bane is my favorite Clone Wars original character in terms of like the characters actually created for that show. He is a badass Western bounty hunter. His first arc was the arc that really like hooked me on the show, the Holocron heist arc. So yeah, I mean, I geeked out for it. And in the unreleased episodes, so for those that are like unaware, there's supposed to be a final season, then that got canceled, and then they made a final season, but it wasn't all of the episodes that were supposed to get made. There was a Cad Bane versus Boba Fett standoff where I believe Boba Fett kills Cad Bane, and that was their way of offing him, giving him his nice little, you know, tie up the bow at the end of the series. Now we have Cad Bane in the Bad Batch. I assume we're never going to see that face-off, or if the face-off happens, is it going to be in here? We were saying, are they bringing in Fennec Shan to tease Book of Boba Fett? Are you doing that? Or can you now bring in fucking Cad Bane in Book of Boba Fett because you brought him back here? I don't know, but this made me so excited. He had a line that reminded me of Bane from The Dark Knight Rises, where he's like, that's very unfortunate for you, which is, you know, it's like Bane on the fucking plane. I geeked out. This was like my I would say my most unexpected and maybe delightfully surprised moment of the season.
Yep. I was about to say Clem, because like this is like a totally new character for you. Like, wow, what did you think of him?
My notes right here. Do we know this bounty hunter and drone? Because I like him a lot. Do we know the drone too? Is like the drone his sidekick? Because the drone kind of play well together.
That's Seth Green. That's Seth Green that voices the drone.
Oh shit! Awesome. Yeah, I dig this guy. The whole Western vibe, the toothpick, and all that kind of shit, and just the aesthetics and everything. Like, just a cool ass dude. So, and he's a badass motherfucker, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah. So, and they have like that little standoff with Hunter. You see here, they do the very cool, like the very, like, what do you call it? Gunfight at the OK Corral. Like, look at the gun, look at the eyes, look at this. Like, all of it worked out like perfectly, except for the fact that Hunter gets shot right in the fucking chest, gets knocked out. Then Cad Bane goes and he uses again the stun gun again. This time on Omega, takes her away, and we get a kind of really cool and interesting shot that we haven't seen in Clone Wars before. It's like a POV shot of Hunter getting taken to the ship. That was really interesting and not something I would have thought they would ever do in something like this, but it was really cool. And he brings her on, and then he like kind of like desperately says like, hey, he got Omega as the ship lifts off and escapes out into space. But that shot was awesome, right?
So I know I keep making movie references, but this was almost shot for shot the ending of the Hunger Games 2 Catching Fire, where like they're rescuing Katniss from the wreckage. And I think you actually get the POV shot. And then as soon as she's on the ship, they kind of zoom in on her and her eyes open and she's like, they have PETA, credits. And that was fucking, they zoom in on Hunter and he's like, they have Omega, boom. So if you go back and watch the ending of Catching Fire, I'm telling you, I think it's Catching Fire, not Mockingjay. It is basically the ending of this Bad Batch episode in a very good way. That's like, one of my favorite movie endings, actually.
What a pull by Robbie fucking Fox there. Jeez, and people are going to be going back to watch some Hunger Games. I bet they didn't see that when they were turning on the Bad Batch this morning.
Writing it down right now. I'm going to add it right over this clip.
I thought it gave me like a Call of Duty cutscene vibe too, right? Where
yeah,
it's your first player. I also was praying when they were going through all the different guns and they were reaching for him. I was hoping Omega was going to shoot him with the bow because she shot first last time, and maybe she'll do it in the future. But that was what I was kind of thinking might happen. But the fact that he took down Hunter or whatever. This guy, what's his name again? The bounty hunter?
Cad Bane.
That's a good name too. That's Star Wars nails the fucking names. They may not nail everything in there. They may not be shooting 1,000. They may not be batting 1,000, but they fucking are batting 1,000 with names, basically. Jesus.
We might have to assign you like at least Cad Bane's first arc, the one that I said like kind of got me into the Clone Wars. I think it's the very end of the first season, and it's called the Holocron Heist, and he gets hired to go steal holocrons from the Jedi Temple, and it's pretty badass. I mean, you get to see other like baby Jedi kind of. You get to see like a little Kit Fisto. Like,
I did get a few people gave me like breakdowns, like like hour 45-minute kind of like this is the whole Clone Wars arc. So I'll check. I have to watch.
Those are probably great.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that, and I'll see if he's in any of those, and then I will try to get back. I was also supposed to watch this with Sienna this morning, but she slept too late, so I was like, I guess it was actually Thursday. I was like, hey, buddy, you want to watch Star Wars with the little cartoon we were watching? She's like, yeah, and I was like, oh shit, it's Thursday. I'm sorry, girl. So then on Friday she slept late, so she missed out on this one. Dad had to do it for work.
That's something Wrecker would do. I think you're really onto something here.
It's true.
Absolutely.
It's true.
So just what are you guys' general reaction to the episode? Because I think that like we were setting up for the Battle of the Empires, so I like that sort of standoff that we had with Crosshair and just having him back, because I think that was like our biggest complaint with the last few episodes is just where the fuck is Crosshair, right? But I think my only complaint about the entire episode structurally is just I think we need a little bit more time for action, because I think that like that battle in the first episode and in the second episode, I think those moments are really cool, and I feel like the action is a little bit more fleeting in these last few episodes. I think we need like a good like 10-minute just action, like pure action, 5 to 10 minutes, something like that. And that's the only thing I feel like we were really, really missing out of this.
I agree. This episode did feel like it went by really quickly. By the end of it, I was like, oh, I guess it's over. But we got Cad Bane, so it kind of distracted me from that fact. I liked the episode. I like the fact that we got Cad Bane coming in, and I love the fact that we have 8 episodes left and we have no idea where the series is going. I'm praying. I would love for this to happen. What if, this is my theory, if you want to go into theories, Crosshair takes out all of the Bad Batch by the end of the episode, and we find out that this has been a prequel to Kenobi all along, and that series is going to be Crosshair live action hunting down Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ooh. Who plays Crosshair live action? That would be a great role with Scar and everything.
I know you need like a Ben Linus motherfucker, like it's just a cold, but not Ben Linus. He's a little too short for it, I think.
Mhm.
You just need someone that's like,
Mads
I don't know. Well,
Mikkelsen would have been
Tamora
a
Morrison
great.
kind of has to, right?
Well,
Or
no,
no,
'cause
he's a
they're
modified
altered.
clone. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's modified. Yeah.
If Mads Mikkelsen didn't already play Galen, or he would have been a perfect Crosshair.
Yeah, he would have been a very good one.
Yeah, with
Thin
that.
down a little bit, slim down. What about that guy that played Doctor Who when they first brought it back?
Tennant or David
No,
Tennant?
before him.
Shoot, I don't know.
He only
offhand.
did one season. It was not very successful.
Maybe
It's the
not.
only season I saw, though. So it's my only frame of reference for Doctor
Matt
Who.
Smith. Like I don't know. No. My reference to
Before
Doctor
him,
Who is
too.
almost nothing. Yeah, I got nothing for Doctor Who just yet. That's the show I need to watch. But yeah, what about you, Clem? What'd you think of the episode?
I liked it. I'm kind of with Robbie. I like not having any clue where we're going, but having a lot of those things have already paid off. But like the Crosshair thing is still going to be an arc. My question: does Crosshair lose his name if his crosshair kind of gets burnt off, or like his whole face is just a bunch of scars? Like that's kind of his calling card, right? Like is that how we got the name Crosshair? Or is it like, oh, you have this scar that looks like a crosshair? Or?
I'm going by a new name, Taserface.
That's good. This isn't as much a theory as just something I hope happens. I hope at some point, if it's not the last like scene of the finale of the season finale, at least some point, fucking Sid blows up in that fucking arcade. My guy Wrecker takes like a giant, like one of those movie theater sized popcorn bags of the popcorn, and that's how we go. Because like I think out of everyone on the show right now, including Crosshair, who's clearly a mean motherfucker, I think I want to see Sid die more than anyone else. Right? No offense, Rhea Perlman.
By the way, tell me that doesn't kind of look like Crosshair.
Oh, Chris Eccleston.
Yes, Chris Eccleston.
He was in Thor: The Dark World. That HBO show about the what do you call it? The Rapture or whatever it was. Oh my God, The Leftovers.
That's not bad.
Yeah. No, I like that. That would actually be an amazing pick. I love that pick.
Got a guy with a buzz cut, basically.
In the perfect sort of like not Widow's Peak, but like that same receding line. That was a good pick. Another thing I like about this is just how they're setting up that conflict within the group of just what direction the group is going to go, right? Because like we were saying before, like that's going to be a thing, I think, like because some of them are going to want to go with Rex and just be with like a group and have an objective, because you can even see that like in the scene where Omega's talking to Tech about the war. Like you would think him be like, oh, I don't want to talk about it, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, yeah, it was a set of mission objectives. We completed them. They were in different theaters. They were this. Like they're such like technical soldiers that I think like that's something that just makes so much more sense to them to do is just be on the right side of whatever it is versus like being in the more free flowing like gray zone that is, being a mercenary. They prefer things, I would assume, black and white, but that's going to be a bigger thing going forward, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
Another thing to note, I was pulling for the scene where they saw all of the dead troopers and he's like, who did this? I really, for a split second, thought it was going to be Cal Kestis, like we talked about last episode, but it's okay. He's very young at this point, and it's totally fine for it not to be him.
How young would he be? Would he be like
still
10?
a Padawan? I think at this point, like he's still young in Fallen Order.
I'd like to see him. I think it'd be cool to see him.
I would love to at some point.
I hope I see him too. I have no idea who the fuck he is, but again, his name sounds awesome. Star Wars, I've noticed they nail the names, but it's always names to start with a K sound, either a C or a K. You got to have it like in the first or last name. They always nail those with a CK or F, like Fennec Shan. Great name.
Yes. And Kestis is played by it's a mocap from a real person. It's the guy who played Joker in the CW series, Cameron Monaghan, I believe. So like that's something you could bring to live action too.
He's big from Shameless. A lot of people know him from that. The redhead kid from Shameless.
Yeah, he can do a lot of things with him. We can move into some Easter eggs. Cad Bane, like we talked about, Clem, is huge in the Clone Wars. You can see here he's held his own. He's fought with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and like he doesn't always win, but he always manages to fight like legit Jedi as equals, which is like a huge thing, I think, just for the Star Wars universe. You can see over there he's dealt with Palpatine, he's dealt with Dooku. Like he has like a really big role to play in a lot of these like the Clone Wars era of just fighting and conflict and all these espionage plots. It's a really cool episode arc where like was it Moralo Evol, right? Was that little slimy guy that like he does he basically Obi-Wan goes undercover and they give him like plastic surgery to look like a criminal that Cad Bane knows, and they like team up to like find out how this heist is working out. He's like an inside man. It's an undercover mission for Obi-Wan. That was a great arc too.
It's like friggin' Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Literally. But yeah, he's a huge character, obviously, like I mentioned before. And his robot as well, I forget the name off the top, but it's voiced by Seth Green. Seth Green, obviously, a huge Star Wars fan. I think he's voiced a few characters in the animated series so far. I think in Rebels as well. Like I mentioned before, Proton Torpedo is always cool. It's one of the coolest just weapons and bombs, whatever you want to call it. They're so awesome. And every time I hear it, I immediately just think of the like right into the vent.
Yeah.
Always. Oh, I just love seeing them.
The way it shoots down is iconic. Like I'll always like, even when I throw a friggin' crumpled up piece of paper into a garbage can, I'm like, ion torpedo.
I always loved them in whatever the video games. That would always be like if you had all these different choices for different weapons to choose, it was always the Proton Torpedoes.
Oh, the best. Another thing, I think that when the shuttles like swoop in and they like strafe the Bad Batch at one point, I think it's the first time we heard like the TIE Fighter laser effect versus like it being like, like the Republic lasers sound totally different. Like TIE Fighter lasers make like that very iconic, like whatever tinniness sound to it. And it made that sound when they fired at them. I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know if that's just because you even noticed that. I think not just who was it? I think Robbie, you mentioned it in one of the first episodes when the lasers like switched colors. Yeah, so like they're doing that. Like the Empire just has to have their own signature way of killing people. So they just had to retrofit everything. So that was cool as well. Just did theories, questions, stuff like that as always. I think that Crosshair now knowing about the chip means he's going to find out the chip is real and eventually disable it. That is my one theory right now.
Do you think Crosshair is going to like team back up with the Bad Batch and turn against the people that have been controlling him?
I'm sensing a self-sacrifice play. I'm sensing he finds this out because they're going to have to go and rescue Omega, obviously. Yep. I think at some point we're going to have like the very classic Mando Clone Wars style, like snatch and grab for one of the boys to go and rescue Omega. And he's just going to like basically have the same situation that happened in Kamino where like he like went after them. And this time he's going to like let them go or like, sacrifice himself to save them. And maybe that's one of our sad moments.
I could see that for sure.
Getting killed in an engine there's not many worse things I can imagine than getting cooked alive basically in an engine, right? That was pretty fucking bad. Did you guys ever see Operation Odessa? This is a completely independent question from the show. It was a movie, it was a documentary about these guys. They work for Pablo Escobar. It's where they get the submarine from Russia. I don't know what I got some vibes from that when they were at the old planet and they were going through all the old stuff because it was after the fall of the Soviet Union. You could get like all this Russia shit for dirt cheap in terms of submarines, helicopters, whatever. Must watch for anyone who wants to see it. There's a dude named Tarzan who's a Russian guy who lived in the U.S. and was in Florida, like owns strip clubs. Absolute crazy character. So again, first you're gonna watch which one is it, Bob? Catching Fire.
Catching Fire, right?
Catching Fire. You're gonna watch Operation Odessa, which I think actually is on YouTube. I don't know if it's like pirated on there or whatever. It might be. It was on Netflix. It just got off of Netflix. So find it. I'm sure Ken Jack has like somewhere on his blog. You could probably find it at some point where it is. But must watch movie. Complete tangent from Star Wars.
Adding that to the list. If you guys have any other theories, though, sound it off now. If anything else tickles your fancy, where you think we're going to go, because I have no idea other than like I think the only thing we're primed up for is now them going to rescue, obviously Omega at some point. But like I don't know what's going to be the next big thing. Like what's going to be like? Is Fennec Shan going to come back? Are we going to have a showdown with Cad Bane? I don't know.
I'm gonna stick with my prediction. I think from like episode 1 or 2. Which was we will see Daniel Logan return as Boba Fett, a young Boba Fett, and maybe meet Fennec Shand during this show. Maybe he's another bounty hunter hired to go get Omega in some way, maybe by someone else, and then they meet going to get her, and then boom, Book of Boba Fett birthed.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
I'll kind of piggyback off that, except I'm going with I'm basically hitting for a single. I'm choking up on the bat. I'm just trying not to strike out here. We're going to end up the end of this goddamn season because it's the fucking center of the universe in Star Wars. We're going to end up on Tatooine. So we're going to end up with Tatooine. Let's go with it.
All roads lead there. I agree with that. All right. We'll be back next Friday for the next episode. I think the next one's going to be a big one, unless there's two ways this goes. The next episode is directly the retrieval, or the next episode is the planning and setup, and then the episode after that is almost like, you remember how last season of Mando ended and that same sort of vibe? So that's I think the one of two ways that we go to. But we'll be back next Friday with a recap. I'm Ken Jack. That's Robbie. That's Clem. We'll see you next week.